travel thing. Okay, all right. So we are basically live on Facebook at the same time. For those that don't know me, my name is Tisha, and I have my good friend, fellow agent, Ms. Donna Moore. Actually I met her at a random meeting in San Antonio, and we just kind of started talking and getting to know each other. And as you will see, she has a beautiful spirit, and that's kind of why, like, you know, I keep her around because she's going places. And I want to be there when she goes. But right now, what we're going to talk about is something that we've talked about before, was trying to figure out how to do the research fees. Now, originally, I've never been like against research fees, but I never really wanted to do it until this past year when I realized that, yeah, I'm gonna have to do research fees at this point because people are just not doing what I want them to do. All right, so I have my video up. That's what I was trying to do, so I can go ahead and see if anyone has comments on Facebook. Okay, so this is what I did. I went into my templates. You can see my screen, right? Yeah, and you're free to come off mute and talk whenever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. This is for you, but I'm sharing with everyone else. So what I went to do is, because you know how, what is these people? TravelJoy. They started doing the new terms and conditions for non-refundable deposits and stuff. Have you seen that?
I did.
Okay, so I'm gonna show it to you real quick. So here they have all the different terms and conditions. And what I did was I took the non-refundable here for terms and conditions, and I made a copy of it by clicking the copy button over here. And I made it and I labeled it research fees, and I'm gonna show you why. Because what happens is, what I'm going to show you, this is going to show up inside of your travel request, whatever you call it. This is automatically going to show up now. And I can send this to you. I can email it to you if you want me to. I won't do Facebook, that's just too much. And everything in here, basically, I rewrote it a little bit because what I wanted to do was explain the research fees. So that way, because as we know, being successful agents, we're going to have people that's just going to say, hey, I want to do a trip request. Can you send me some information? You may not know who they are. They may not know what's going on. So they'll get all that information. So basically what it says is this payment is for research fees. It's stating that they are non-refundable unless explicitly otherwise stated. It states that the charge is for research fees. I'm repeating myself because you know people don't read. You know, people don't read. You got to say things 4 times. If you got kids and little sisters and brothers, you know they don't listen. And I also put a stipulation in here that says that if the payment is not received within 48 hours of receipt, that the agency will consider this request null and void. So basically, if they don't pay us, we don't do the work. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's something I thought I wanted to throw in.
Oh, for sure. I love that.
So then some of the things that I wrote out was that I wanted to explain, one of the key things is you want to make sure you explain what the research fees are going to be used for. And I'm stating that the research fees will be used towards the final payment. They will not be used towards the deposit at all. The reason why I've stated that is because if they cancel the trip for any particular reason, and I want to get my money back, it's not going to come back to me. It's going to end, it could possibly end up going back to the client depending on how you do your business. Now, I know we both use TravelJoy. I'm going to use, moving into 2023, I'm going to be doing everything with direct deposits. I'm no longer doing supplier payments. I'm doing direct deposits because, one, it allows me to collect the money immediately. And I don't have to break my neck with the whole, oh my God, I just deposited $1,000. How fast can I get that money off their card? Yada, yada, yada. Just doing a direct deposit payment. And then that way,
I don't know what it is, but people see that you're out of town, because I had the same situation. I was just in Costa Rica and I had somebody do a deposit and I'm like, hey, I don't know if I should even mess with it, because then the banks are going to think somebody's trying to hack them. So I really do think, you know, I'm getting on board with that as well, getting that direct payment. Because I don't, okay, so which one was that? Direct deposit? Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing the direct payments from now on, because like you just said, when you're on vacation, when you're out of town, or if you're busy or whatever, and people make deposits, Or you get 1,000 emails and you don't even notice the email for the deposit, the money is sitting there. Because I had my mom make a payment in September and I didn't make the payment till October because I never saw it. But I got her money and I don't have to worry about somebody making a payment on the paper and then go Christmas shopping. And then it's like, oops, I don't have the money, because I got somebody like that right now who did that and I haven't been able to charge their card and I can't find them, but I'm gonna find them, don't worry about it. So then I have on here that if the trip is canceled for any time, for any reason, I don't care why you cancel it, research fees are considered non-refundable and will be used to compensate the agency for time spent creating the trip. Any additional payments made directly to the supplier will be refundable and will be processed as trip credit or refund, depending on the travel assurance that that's selected. And if no travel assurance is selected, all funds are not refundable and will be forfeited at the time of cancellation. The reason why I brought that out was because I've had instances where people are not paying attention to the travel insurance. They want refunds versus trip credit. Now, when I do my invoices, it clearly states that you have a trip credit. It doesn't, I do trip credit for couples, but when I'm dealing with individuals, I do refund, because if you do individuals and do trip credit, they divide the payments immediately based off the total cost. But if you do refund, they actually refund the cards on file, the exact amount that was actually charged. So moving forward, I'm no longer doing trip credit for everybody, only for like couples. Only for couples. That's it. Everybody else is going to do credit card refund, and it's going to be charged a little bit more because there's less headaches in the end when they try to say, because when I'm trying to deal with a group and that it was just too much. It was just too much. And then I state what my research fees are. You could choose whatever research fees you want to use. I'm doing $50 for individual requests of 5 people or less. And the reason why I said people over rooms is because I could say 5 rooms, but that could technically be almost 18 people if they're doing 4 in a room. And that's a lot of people to deal with. So I just said 5 people and $100 or more for 6. And the groups of 15 or more will require a larger deposit, but that's something that we would have to discuss, the dynamics of the request, depending on what they're requesting and stuff like that. Another thing that I've noticed that a lot of suppliers are requesting, especially if you're doing custom type trips, which I know you are, is all names and emails of all travelers must be provided at the time of the request. This is required to gather the travelers' information, ages, and other dynamics, because I've hit walls recently with these like I'm doing a customized luxury trip to Dubai. Every supplier that's trying to put it together wants the full names, emails, and date of births of the travelers. And I don't have it because the person hasn't given it to me. So moving forward, I need all that information up front, because as you know, we're going to send the trip request form out to them, and they won't have to pay the fee. It'll be waived, obviously, because I'm not going to charge, if it's 5 or less, I'm not going to charge every single person $50. I'm just going to charge the group leader the 50 and so forth and whatever. And then, just to make it a little sweeter, any repeat clients of 2 or more trips booked and traveled, I'll waive their research fees, because I know that they're repeats. I know they're good.
I like that.
Yeah, but I did say 2 trips, and they must have booked and traveled, not booked and canceled, booked and traveled.
Yeah.
And then I explained to them why I'm doing it, because we've experienced too many requests and free quotes have gone out without potential clients booking, and the agency is losing funds. I should put the agency is losing funds. This is why you read stuff 4 times. And then I have one, of course, that certified that I am an authorized user of this credit card, and I will not dispute the payment with my credit card company, so as long as the transaction responds, yada, 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 right? So I have all of that said and done. So then what I went and did was I went back to my forms, and I know you have a form like this too. Let's see. So I went to my trip request. I made a copy of my, I just updated it. The trip request. So I labeled it research fees, just so I know it's on there. So what I did was down here where it says add client credit card authorization section, I have that clicked. So what happens is when this gets sent to them, as you saw with what I sent you, it's actually going to have the information for them to collect the money and everything. And then the terms and conditions, I selected the non-refundable with the research fees. So that way they have everything. Now, one thing I did update here was I don't know how well you can see it because I know the screen's probably a little small. Make it a little bigger for you. I did state in here what the research fees were. So they know what it's supposed to be. So when they actually fill it out, it'll show them that it's a $50 deposit, yada, 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 all the good stuff we just went over. And I didn't make any other changes to my form, to be honest with you. I just made some updates that just needed to be done. Like one of the things is if we're going to be asking for the names and emails of all the adults traveling, I had to put in a bigger box so they could type it in, so I can get the information. Because the plan is once this goes out and I get the research fees, I'm going to actually send a regular client update form to these people, not necessarily a trip request, but a client update form. And I'll show you my form when we're done. I didn't make any other changes, but I will say this: if you want to target clients to spend more money, your budget, fix your budget here. Make sure it says for each traveler, and then increase your budget. Because when originally I had this down for total trip, and it was $1,500 to $2,500, and I kept getting all these lower costing trips, which means I wasn't making as big of a commission. But when I changed this to say for each traveler and I raised these numbers, I started getting more trips that were higher. People were paying more. So loyalty program's always good to have in here. And then I didn't really do anything different. What I did do this. Full name as appears on passport, I made it a required thing, because what I'm learning, which I don't understand why people do this, they'll use various different names on Facebook, and then even though you tell them, give me your legal name, I still get a nickname.
Yeah.
I don't
Same.
get it. So I need you, yeah, so I made that a requirement. I made gender on the passport a requirement, because with this gender fluid world, it doesn't matter if you are living your life as a man. If your passport still says female, that's how I have to submit it as a female until you change it. Otherwise, you are going to have problems if you go in there, you're living your life as a man, but your passport still says female, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't really change anything else. And then this is what it looks like. And I know you've seen it, but for those watching, this is what it looks like. And the key part, credit card authorization is right there. They'll be able to type in the amount that they want to authorize, their credit card information. All the terms and conditions are completely laid out there for them. And then they sign it and it goes. And now the only thing is that if you embed this, let me move my box over. If you embed the form, they do not support the credit card authorization, which means that if you embed this into a website, the credit card authorization part that I just showed you will not show up. So they'll get all of this, all of that. Let me show you what they won't see. So what they won't get is this section right here, 1, 2, and 1 and 2. They won't be able to see that. They won't be able to actually charge the card. So they'll get the form, they'll get the terms and conditions, but you would have to turn around and send them an actual invoice.
Okay.
If you embed it. So what you can do is once you get, so say you do embed the form or copy the link and send it out, have it like a bit.ly, like most of us do, and you send it out, what you have to go back to do is go to invoice, wait for the computer, and then, is this it? You always get confused. No, that's the wrong one. It's one of these forms. Is it a form? No, these are the forms. Where are the invoices? Is it on the invoice? I don't think it's on the invoice. No, it's not on. I think what you'd have to do is, because at this point you'll have their email address. At this point, you would have to create a trip, which we're not going to do. I'm going to use my test one because that's what she's there for. We're going to go to the test. And what you would do is once you put them into the system, if you're using TravelJoy, you're going to create a direct invoice like this. Yes, I am totally sure. And then you can add an item. And then at this point, you'd have to create something that says research. And that's back where we were before. But down here is when you would choose the research fees. I don't allow custom payments. I don't like doing custom payments because people may tend to change the deposit. So the deposit for any invoice, if the deposit is 500 and you allow them to custom pay, they may only pay 100, which means you can't book the trip. So I don't allow custom payments until later. I'm just going to add a payment. I probably should add an item first. So we're going to make up an item. I don't really care. I just want to put some money in. Where's somebody put some money in my account like that? Just go put some money in your account. So you have the amount that is done. I'm just going to pick something. As you know, I always do credit card only. I don't like bank transfers. So now we have that the amount is 50. And we're going to preview it. So now when they get the invoice that you'll send them, this is what it looks like. They have their convenience fee. They have their payment, but there go your terms and conditions.
Awesome.
So that's the only workaround that you can do. So if you do link your link out, you do take the link and put it out there with the web, which most of us are going to do. Once it comes in, it's still going to have the terms and conditions on the form. It's just not going to have the ability for them to pay the research fee. Then once you get it, you will send them the invoice. And then once we send it, we're not going to pay on their behalf. And then this is going to be your invoice for research fees or whatever you want to say. And then here, this is when I will let them know, say, okay, here's your invoice for your research fees to get started on this amazing trip to Jamaica. You have 48 hours or however much time you want to give them to pay this invoice. Once I receive this information, I'll begin doing your trip. And that's it.
I like it. Awesome. You make it seem so easy.
That's because you're not there when my brain is trying to figure this out.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Yeah. But that's an easy way, I think, to do it. You can still embed it. You still get the information. And then, let me show you something else too. Confirmation.
Because when you sent me the preview, so we can still send it, because I was looking, it looks like it has the credit card.
I sent you a copy of the link. So like I sent you an actual link. I didn't do the embedded link. I literally copied the entire link, but I know your biggest concern was automation. And I know you want to set it up like a bit.ly link, put it in your signature block. So if you do it that way, the reason why I like it that way is because I sent you the link from my test dashboard, my test one that I play around in. But if you're getting completely new people, the best way to do it is to get the embedded form link and just use that link for the form. And then once they actually fill everything out, send the invoice back. But what you would do is you would create a new invoice template. Actually, no, we're not going to create. We're going to make a copy of the invoice confirmation. And then this is where you would change it and say, so when you send the invoice out, this is where you let them know again, remind them about the 48 hours. This is just for your research fees and yada, yada, yada. So when they submit their invoice and pay their invoice, this is what they'll see, right? So you want to make sure you update the invoice confirmation for researches. Yeah, said that right. So when a client submits like an invoice, approves a proposal, you can choose what your templates say. Most of mine say the same thing. I've never really updated them, but this is where you can also do a lot more personalization as well. But one of the things you want to do is, so like when somebody submits a form, when a client submits a form, show a form confirmation, right? So here's what the form confirmation says, right? I have to update this late December. This is where you would say, I'll be in touch to go over. Please be on the lookout for the research fees invoice that should hit your box within the next 24 to 48 hours. And then you can put something in here that reminds them that say, hey, this is the cost, yada, yada, yada. So they know that there's an invoice coming. And this will be automated for you. Make sense?
Yes. Okay.
So it's just little things here and there that I help them, so that way they can automate and they know that there's a research fee coming. And then like when a client approves a proposal, you can show them the proposal confirmation, which is, to me, is really just simple. Let them know I'm going to send them an updated invoice to review. I do need to update this to state, please make sure you let me know specifically what it is that you want, because what happens with me is, and I'm sure it happens with you and anybody else watching, when we send a proposal out, we're tending to send multiple hotels and multiple information on one proposal, and they'll say, oh yeah, it's approved. Great, which one? Like, which one? So I have to update this date to ask those questions as well. So there's a lot of updating of stuff that I need to do that I probably won't do until Saturday-ish, because I'm cooking today. But these are ways that you could personalize, make your things a little bit more personal. So did that answer your questions?
Yes.
Do you have any other questions while we're here?
So whenever you're talking about sending your proposal, do you normally do the smart proposal or do you do the regular proposal?
I normally do the smart proposal. It just kind of depends on what they're asking for. I'm gonna show you. Wait, no, that's no. Wait, first let me see if did she read the email? Let me see if she read the email. Let me lock that stuff over there. Yep, she read the email. Okay, she just came back from Sandals.
Nice.
Oh yeah, she had a blast.
I bet.
Jackson. So for them, I have, so for here, I have, because of how we're putting this together for Dubai, there's a lot of different things going on. So for one of them, I did a link because that's what the supplier gave me. They gave me a link, so I just gave them a link. But I honestly prefer the smart proposals because they look so much better. Mm-hmm. They look so much better. So we're gonna preview.
I like smart proposal that looks better. It looks more professional, more, a little razzle dazzle on it and everything. But I like how the regular proposal, you can do A, B, or 1, 2, 3, or whatever proposals. And I know we can kind of do that in the smart proposal on our own, but I wish there were the way, like you said, they could just like pick and choose while they're in that proposal.
Yeah, and that's something that I've submitted to the support people about. I told them I love the advancements that they're doing, them trying to pull in the information and the pictures and all this other stuff. I said, but it would make it so much easier, especially if you want to collect that deposit right then and there from the proposal and you have multiple choices. It would be great if you can sit there and say, okay, this is, what y'all tell us? This is the Mandarin Oriental. And then I have, because they're going to Dubai, a luxury Dubai trip. This, and then, because see, I have the club studio, then I have the junior suite, and then I have the Premier King room, and then now I have another hotel. If they can figure out a way to allow people to select packages and create a package inside of the smart proposal so people can choose which package they want, and then make a deposit on just that package without having to do a whole group booking page.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. And you're making me want to go back to Dubai now.
I've actually never been to Dubai. But putting together this trip, I kind of want to go now. And then watch, guys, do not watch Dubai Bling. Because in Dubai Bling, I was mentally packing in my head of all these places I was going to go that I couldn't even afford. Because they millionaires over here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I go to Dubai, I want to go Dubai right. I don't want to do the whole touristy thing. I want to go behind the scenes. Of course, I want to go to the gold souk and the regular shopping souk. But I also want to go to where, they get their fresh fish in the morning. I want to do all that behind the scenes stuff people don't pay attention to.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I want to do all of that. So and I found a couple of places that I've liked. And to be honest, this price for this room, this is per room. They're doing single in a room, but this is for 7 nights.
Wow, that's not bad.
No, that's 7 nights, corner suite, and it comes with a spa package, It's commissionable for me. They get a wellness package. They get breakfast served in their kitchen. Yeah, they get all of that on top of everything else that comes along with this particular hotel. Which hotel is this? I don't remember what hotel this is. Oh, the
Oh, that
JW
looks
Marriott
amazing.
Marquis.
I love
And then those
it.
amazing views, you know, and for 7 nights to stay and have all of that. And then if you shared the room, it's still not that bad.
Oh no, no, that's awesome. We went
Yeah.
on the touristy type thing, and I'm so ready to go back. I feel like I missed out on so much, and
Well,
you're just sparking it all over again.
yeah, when I go, I want to stay one that is a resort on a beach because I think that is just so cool. Like, look how beautiful this Ritz-Carlton looks.
Yes, I love it.
I want to go with the official clothing. Like, I don't want to look like a tourist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had plenty of places to buy the clothing, even in the hotel. They had it in the hotel, which, I didn't, my husband was all into it, but now coming back and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have, when I was there. And yeah, so definitely want to go back. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a supplier, Abercrombie and Kent, I believe it is. They actually have something where they'll work with you and your clients to get their measurements, their sizes and everything. So when they check into the hotel, they'll have their cover-ups on their bed waiting for them. So they don't have to worry about trying to find appropriate clothing to be able to go out, walk the streets, go shopping. Because I know in Dubai, you can wear kind of whatever you want to a point. But it is more respectful to be covered up when you're out and about. They'll size everything up because they did it for her group to Saudi Arabia. So when their group showed up of like 30 people, they had all their attire laid out. So I was like, yes, please. Well, we want that.
Yes.
So they haven't picked the hotel room yet. And they have an unlimited budget. So, I have things in various different places. Like this is the 1-bedroom club suite. What hotel is this? Because I'm all up in this. Oh, it's the Ritz-Carlton. What do you expect?
What vendor is that you're using?
I'm going between Abercrombie and Kent and Kensington Tours. We're going back and forth between those two, trying to see what they actually like. Abercrombie and Kent, or A&K, basically said because it's so far out, one of the things we should do is look at the hotel first, because I can book the hotel now, and then zone in on the excursions and tours and stuff that they could actually put together themselves and do all the tours, the shuttle services, the private things and stuff like that. Because she did say that for Dubai, Abu Dhabi and stuff like that, it's actually better to do private tours, get enough people to do a private tour versus trying to just be lumped in with everybody else. Because we're also going to be putting together a private dinner because they're celebrating a 40th. We're going to do a private dinner party on a cruise ship. Not a cruise ship, but a yacht.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds amazing.
Guys, this was the end. You got a little bit of extra information. You know how that goes with me. You always get more information. If you have more questions concerning about setting up your invoices, setting up the payment plans for your research fees or whatever, make sure you comment below and I will do my best to get back to you in a timely manner. As this was filmed right before Thanksgiving, have a happy holiday, eat well, and travel often. Talk to you later.
Be blessed. Bye.